You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K. Sapp. My. Jason Whitlock. Wow. Unbelievable remarks of what he said about Shedeur Sanders. And they got the internet going hysterical. But we got to talk about it all right here next, right after this. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you, man, Jason Whitlock from the Blaze podcast. I can't believe what I was listening to. I wasn't going to talk about it. Somebody sent me the clip and said, hey, did you see what Jason Whitlock said about Shedeur Sanders? That got the internet going hysterical. So I looked it up and researched and I listened to it and I was like, wow, never would have thought Jason Whitlock, of all people, would say this about Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's give a little backstory. Ever since Shedeur Sanders went to a HBCU at Jackson State, Jason Whitlock never was found of Shedeur Sanders. Even when he went to Colorado, was never found of Shedeur Sanders. All the stories out there on how he was going at Deion Sanders, prime time, would never respond to him. Then he was taking shots at his kids, such as Shedeur, Shiloh, Bucky. And all the negative things that Jason Whitlock has said about Shedeur Sanders when he was at Colorado with Deion Sanders' dad as the coach, talking about it was a clown show and Shedeur Sanders is not that great of a quarterback. And he didn't really see nothing in Shedeur. He was only getting the praise and the promise because of his namesake. All kinds of things where Jason Whitlock was downplaying all the talent that Shedeur Sanders brought to the table. And leading up to the NFL draft, Jason Whitlock came out and said some things talking about, he don't think that Shedeur Sanders is a first-round talent, second-round talent, third-round talent. He said he'll probably go undrafted or he'll go late, 6th or 7th round. But he was not a proven quarterback, took too many sacks. But at the same time, he kept on taking sacks, getting up, and giving people what they wanted. Then he was talking about the arrogance, the risk, Shedeur time, and things like that. And that all comes by way of his father's bravado, the showmanship and things like that. But I find it kind of funny that all these people that said all this stuff about Shedeur Sanders is now eating crow and now saying that Shedeur Sanders belongs. He had a stellar performance against the Tennessee Titans, even though they lost 31-29. We're going to blame Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, but Kevin Stefanski did come out and say that, he's responsible for all the calls. Even though he gave up the play calling duty, he's still calling the plays. Shedeur Sanders was absolutely on fire yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He threw for 364 yards. He had 3 passing TDs, also 1 rushing TD. And he has been the first rookie in the Super Bowl era to do them numbers outside of Joe Burrows. And there's another quarterback that did the same thing. And it's now Shedeur Sanders. Now everybody wants to praise Shedeur Sanders for, his awareness, his arm talent, his elite accuracy, and all kinds of things. So listening to Jason Whitlock, I found it kind of startling that he said these remarks about Shedeur Sanders when he compared the game against the Tennessee Titans and the overall number 1 draft pick in Cam Ward. But before we get off into that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy sports. Let me tell you about the easiest way to get in on some WNBA and NBA action. Find your player, pick higher or lower, win you some extra cash. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry, get every pick right, and win some serious cash. Use my promo code SBD23 and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now that it's football time, follow Simply Ball Dropping as I share my picks. Like I said, pick your player, choose your amount, win money. Make picks, win cash. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for the partnership with us, and thank you for using promo code SBD23 on Underdog Fantasy.
Well, guys, with that being said, let's take a listen to what Jason Whitlock had to say about Shedeur Sanders, and you're going to be startled. Let's take a listen.
There was a big black quarterback bowl called Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders, and everybody's making a big deal. Shedeur threw for 360 yards, 3 TD passes, ran for another. Cam, 117 yards. I get that Cam was playing against Myles Garrett, the number 2 defense in the league, the best defensive player. But having watched this, one guy looked like borderline first or second round pick, and another guy looked like a 5th round draft pick. And it wasn't who you think, in my view. Cam Ward looks like the 0-star high school quarterback that he was. I don't know look, I know they got a terrible coaching staff. I know they fired their coach. I know there's chaos in the Tennessee organization, but I didn't like his footwork. I didn't like his mechanics. I didn't like his fundamentals. Cam Ward looks like a really bad number 1 overall draft pick. And Shedeur looks like a guy that might stick around the NFL. Your thoughts?
Now, you heard what Jason Whitlock had to say, man, and that's kind of startling because Jason Whitlock never gives Shedeur Sanders any praise. And he uttered the words that Shedeur Sanders looks like he's going to stick around the NFL for a long time. And, you know, he didn't do Cam Ward no disservice. He didn't, do him any justice, man, by talking about he looks like a bad overall number 1 pick. But, in my opinion, I've always said I thought that, Shedeur Sanders was the better quarterback than Cam Ward. This is not a slight on Cam Ward because both of the kids are special. Not trying to put these kids against each other because they're good friends and, they thrive off of each other. And I just believe that when you hear things like this from Jason Whitlock, it's just mind-blowing. So this is what I will say. For all the people, all the naysayers, and all the media critics that says Shedeur Sanders is not an NFL talent, he's not elite, and now that you're trying to jump on the other side, you got to stay on that side, man. You got to stay 10 toes down because you guys are the one that told us that Shedeur don't belong. He is a 5th round draft pick. But Shedeur is not a 5th round draft pick. He's not a 5th round talent. He's a 1st to 2nd round talent. And now that y'all see that, y'all eating crow, so y'all want to sneak some little soliloquies in and try to be on the Shedeur Sanders train. But you can't be that way because Jason Whitlock, you started this long time ago when he was at Jackson State, even when he moved to Colorado, even entering the NFL draft. You said that Shedeur Sanders didn't belong. And the only reason why he's getting an NFL look is because of his daddy, his namesake. And now that you've watched a little small sample size of Shedeur Sanders and you see what Shedeur Sanders is capable of doing, now you singing another tune. Basically came out and said Shedeur is a 1st and 2nd round talent and a draft pick. Should have went number 1. And also you said Shedeur Sanders is going to be around the NFL for a long time. See, guys like this that try to flip-flop and sway to the other side when you had nothing good to say about these young men, and now you want to jump on the Shedeur train, you got to stay on that side, Jason Whitlock, because Jason Whitlock, I know your style. I know what you try to do, and it works for you. but we not going to let you off the hook. We're going to hold you accountable. And that's why we had to talk about it. I wasn't going to talk about it, but you know, my subscribers wanted me to talk about it. So that's why I'm bringing it to the forefront. I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.